People already know how I feel about Jackman Harlow. Jackman Harletheus. Cool individual, nice personality. You know what I'm saying? I see why people like him, but I can't for the life of me see why people like his music. He dropped an album called Come Home, the Kids Miss You. That was the actual name of the album. That was a lot to take in. Built with a bunch of bars towards other women in the industry, basically saying, oh, do you know how much I want to fuck you? Like, oh my God, I want to fuck you so bad, I'm going to name a song after you, put it on my album. Some of those, you know, some of those. So hopefully we got bars on this album that are like great. Oh yeah, like I said, he went back to the trenches for this one. He's in front of the, you know what I'm saying, alleyway next to the trash cans. Basketball hoop got no net, so you know he's struggling. You know he's struggling. Ramen noodles college student type hard. This minivan in the background right here, bro, that's his only transportation. That's his only transportation. Crazy. He about to start flipping packs. If he didn't find the rap shit, like he would have been the next, you know what I'm saying? Chill on my mans. Chill on my mans. It can get critical. It can get critical real quick. Got an album called Jackman, which is his last name. Common Ground is the first track. It's only 10 tracks. Honestly, I'm trolling a little bit. But this album being 10 tracks after the atrocity of the last one could be a very beautiful sign. But rest assured that the Louisville-bred rapper now controls the conversation. Blessed with immaculate hip-hop production, Jackman reinforces his status as the confident and appealing artist who crushed it on Come Home, the Kids Miss You. That automatically is a lie.
College students in a hurry to jump to a 4 count and say the N-word. Listening suburban kids growing up to be rap journalists writing urban myths. Of thrift shopping for articles and garments and feel like they came from a foreign environment.
Hold on. I wouldn't say he's cooking, but he in the kitchen. He's near the stove. Or his hand is over the burner. I enjoyed the rapping on that. I enjoyed the rapping on that. That was nice. However, reason I have mixed feelings is because this is a very common pipeline. I'm listening to you blacks. I see what you talk about on black Twitter. I see what you talk about in black spaces. You tired of white niggas using the lingo and writing all this other stuff about, you know, your culture, blah, 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 blah. But a lot of the time, this is what happens. White rappers like, okay, I hear you. I hear you, my fellow Negroes. I'm one of the good ones. That's kind of what that song gave. Great rapping, though. Great rapping. I'm not going to hate on the rapping. The rapping is good. Flows, inflections, you laid back. You're not giving too much. You giving just enough. But a lot of the time, that's what that gives. I don't want to call it white guilt, but I don't want to not call it white. You know, they don't love it at track number 2.
It's not like I need her, but I would love to meet her. Another day, another dollar, another phone. Whatever the hardest white boy since the one who rapped about vomiting sweaters and hold the comments because they don't love it. They don't love it.
All right. He's playing catch up. I'm sorry. I can't get out of my mind that it just sounds like emulation. It's good rapping so far, but let's just wait. Let's see what happens next. Track number 3 is Ambitious. Please get ambitious.
Girl, and I'm coming to my girl like I'm sterile. And to be a college, even if it's 15 high school chicks, better than a front row of dicks. One day I'm gonna be take away the phones at after parties, we don't trust them. Heartthrob status, I've adjusted to the lust.
The first half of this track, I feel like could easily be misconstrued as, you know, corny or like doing too much, because he's got some bars about like coming in his girl and dicks in the front row, but that's him coming up. You know what I'm saying? No pun intended. That's him coming up. So these are the things that he's seeing and the experiences that he's having, you know, because he's got, you know, large ambition. He's trying to be the next guy. He's trying to be the next one up. The only part about this song that kind of makes it a double-edged sword is that it's kind of ironic because the track is called Ambitious, but, you know, you sound like old Kanye. It's a tried and true hip-hop formula. You're not actually being ambitious on this song because you just sound like an emulator a bit. You like old hip-hop, there's not a way for you to justifiably hate this album. It's underneath this safety veil of hip-hop production, classic kind of, you know, tried and true come up story type of thing, where you basically have to be a literal person in your basement praying for Jack Harlow's demise in order to hate the album. I don't hate this. Is it boring so far? Do I want to hear more based off the first 3 tracks? Probably not. Just Ambitious and Jack Harlow just don't fit in the same sentence for me. So far, though, am I going to hear something crazy creative on it? I don't know. Maybe I should levy my expectations. Maybe I should just, you know what I'm saying, just accept what he's giving me and move on. Maybe there's more. Is that alright? Track number 4.
Times now, stop waiting for the inspiration. They say it's a flaw being impatient, but I know it. No tweaks and no likes. That's how I wanna live my life. Is that alright? No selfies, just say hi. I'm so healthy, alive.
So far, it sounds like a rapper who's already made it, trying to show people that he's hungry. It's hard to act out your hunger when you're already full. I'm not saying Jack Harlow doesn't still have aspirations. He probably does, but I think he's like, with these four tracks and maybe the rest of the album, who knows, trying to prove to us that he wants to be here. And maybe it's just like, I want approval. I want the approval. But on this track, you're still talking about like how you would rather not be on the timeline. You don't want to name search. You don't want to look up articles about yourself. Like, I'm missing something. Like, do you want approval and validation? Or do you want to just remove yourself from the media completely based off of the coverage that you got off the last album? Like, I don't really know what he wants, because it feels like he's still searching for the thing he's neglecting, or saying that he's neglecting so far on the album. Maybe, like I said, I could be reaching. There's always that possibility. This is only my opinion. If you identify with Jackman, you've been in the slums like he has off this album cover, go ahead. More power to you. I'm searching for his soul. I know that's going to be like, yo, you going way too deep. You doing way too much. I know you're going to say that. I'm searching for something to hold on to, but I don't feel nothing yet. All right. Gang. Number 5.
Ride for my dogs, lie for my dogs, die for my dogs. Raped them in the back of some Target. The one with perfect grades that has family in New Orleans, yes, that Marcus.
Bro, you got a minute left to clean this up.
Years of camaraderie suddenly disappear, almost like you never were here.
I get what he's saying. You gotta hold your people accountable. It don't ruin it for me. It's just a very unnecessary song. It's just like something you could put out in a tweet, or like an IG story, 15-second. Hey, bro, just in case you not, you know what I'm saying, aware of this, you gotta hold your friends accountable when they do fucked up shit, you know? This is a lot of nothing to say. Essentially, you know, if my friends do something, I'm not gonna be friends with them anymore. And don't get me wrong, I do get the message behind this song. It's very much so focusing on the initial disbelief that the average person would have if their friend is accused of something heinous. The initial reluctance to believe that the person that you hold near and dear to you could ever rob someone of their body in this way. So rather than believe they've robbed someone of their body in that way to prevent you from being robbed of your friend, you just say gang, gang, gang till I die. That's a lot of people's response. And Jack on this track is essentially saying how he took himself to task of removing that person from his life anyway. I just think that the song sends the wrong message. Do I agree with what Jack is saying? 100%. Do I think that the song unintentionally victimizes the person that's receiving this information about their friend? Yes. The highlight of this track isn't actually supposed to be the victim. It's supposed to highlight the struggle that the person feels when they're deciding whether or not to leave their friend alone. And as someone who's had this happen to them as well, I know very well what Jack Harlow is talking about. I guess the thing that prevents me from empathizing is, who gives a fuck? Yeah, I did lose a friend, but me picturing them violating the person that they violated is not the person that I want to be friends with. So it's very easy for me to disassociate those positive memories, those great memories I have with this person, from the vivid imagination that I have of them doing whatever they did to this one individual, and saying, you know what? This ain't really about how I feel. I know Jack is trying to say on this song that it's not as simple as that, but it is. Now, if he would have made this song from the perspective of a parent, or maybe even a sibling, I might have understood a bit more. And that's why I say the best writers in hip hop, or just in music in general, know how to take a topic like this and like get the most out of it. Something that you couldn't say with a 15-second Instagram story or a few character tweet. Make sure you check on your friends. Look at what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, pay attention to them. Like, I get it. Don't get me wrong. And maybe translating that message through a song may be of some benefit. I just think it's really awkward. Track number 6, Denver.
Just got off the stage on the Today Show and I basically felt soulless, cause it was fun when we were known less. Sorry, that's cliche, I know I'm so blessed, but Jason keeps on telling me.
That's what I like. There's nothing wrong with telling you the self-awareness is key. That was great. Nothing wrong with that at all. I know I'm over here bitching about my phone or whatnot, but like, I know I'm blessed too. But like, I still got my little, you know what I'm saying? I like that right there, man. I like that.
I've seen enough of me on this little screen. I've become so vain and insecure about everything. Okay. Brags and my raps are getting less and less convincing.
Okay.
So
I like that, man.
I wrote that first verse in Denver back in September. It's January.
Why is that so funny? In case you didn't know.
My mama mama needs help adjusting, my father needs help accounting. I'm looking up.
Yeah, I like that right there. Imagine that song in the very beginning, the very intro of this album. Imagine that song right there, and then a bridge into, like, I don't know, some orchestral, beautiful instrumentation, and then it just fades out. Just imagine that for the intro of this Jack Harlow album. How powerful of an intro would that have been? He's saying some shit that sounds like the average person be like, what the fuck is this nigga talking about? Like, why are you complaining about this? But he's got the self-awareness to know, you know what? I'm still blessed. I'm still in a great position. But I'm human. His humanity translates so greatly on this song. Jack did his thing on Denver. Track number 7, No Enhancer.
My homeboy just be cancer. I call my ex, no answer. I like my girl natural. She don't need no enhancer. My homeboy just be cancer.
I know his homeboy like, what the fuck did you tell them that for? I get it though. Like, I'd be super congratulatory and like super happy if my friend be cancer. I just like, damn, cuz, like, can I keep that to myself? My mom don't even know that yet. The fuck, about to surprise her on her birthday. That like, you spoiled the whole little shit. No Enhancer's not bad at all. I mean, it's a little awkward. Don't get me wrong, it's a little awkward, but I can listen to that. 8, It Can't Be.
It must be my skin. I can't think of any other reason I win. Can't be the way that I've stuck with the same friends. It can tag with these crowds. It can't be my pen. It can't be these verses that make people feel like I'm talking to them. It can't be a bit of good karma.
I like the beat. I almost took your frame of mind as well, but he's being ironic with this song. He's basically saying, like, everybody who thinks that it's because I'm white, basically as to why that I'm in the position that I'm in, it can't be because of all the work that I put in. It can't be because of all these other things I put in. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna say I'm you on the song, basically, is what he's saying. But actually, I'm really that nigga. Like, that's what he's saying. And to that I say, no, the fuck you aren't. I'm not saying it is because you're white. I'm not saying it is, but it ain't because you talented. I'm glad he got some balls and he's still going back at people who say that, but you can't completely, you know what I'm saying, eradicate that from being a factor in people's minds. Like, clearly you can say that as much as you want, bro, but I look at careers and I'm just like, dog, this is not because of all the reasons that you said only. Those could be factors, but those are not the only reasons. And if you think that, oh, it's just because, you know what I'm saying, I just put in that work and I'm just successful that I got to this point, I'm just talented and I just be barring up all the songs, bro. You literally said I like to dictate shit Kim Jong. You got lines on this album about dicks in the front row and coming in your girl, which there's nothing wrong with, but that is not a tried and true sign of who is talented, my boy. I like that he's not pussy. At the very least, he gonna argue back and not just accept the fact that I'm white from some nigga on Twitter or some shit like that. Oh, you, like I said, you wouldn't be in this position if you ain't the persuasion that you are. I like that people like this fight back against it, even if it is a little true. You know what I'm saying? Even if it is a little true. But am I gonna listen to that song ever again? Absolutely not. Blame on Me is track number 9.
Hanging with them guys. Suddenly I meant nothing to you. I still wanted your approval. If I could get it, I'd cherish it. Embarrassing me. Blame on me.
I need to listen to this song again, maybe. I got really like nothing to say.
Why I gotta cheat and make her question if I love her? Why am I so flawed? Why am I not the superhero I thought? I keep you under wraps, you told your mom it's for my branding. Why do I feel I need approval from all my skeptics when I fill arenas up with a passionate following?
I'm really trying to be like super charitable to Jack Harlow, because I don't want to invalidate the feelings of not feeling good enough, but this topic comes up quite often to a point where the subject matter of the album is almost drowning with this insecurity, like this blatant outward insecurity, which oftentimes is good and transparent and can make you seem relatable and down to earth. It can also bog down the listening experience to such an extent or such a point where it makes it feel like, and I'm not saying he's doing this on purpose, but making it feel like I'm supposed to like feel bad for you. But there are tracks here where he gets the topic, he does it justice, he's self-aware to know that he's still blessed and to just keep going, but he brings it up time and time and time and time again. You shouldn't be on social media. You shouldn't be looking up, you know, what people say about you in a negative perspective. You shouldn't be giving all your time to things that have no substance. But it's just ironic that the thing that you give yourself, you know what I'm saying, one of the things that you give most of your time to has no substance. I'm trying to figure out at what point in Jack Harlow's career that he was substantive if on questions he's asking himself, when did I start becoming this guy that just kind of exists almost? He asks a question on questions, basically saying like, when did I become this soulless almost? And then I'm thinking about his discography and asking, when did you have soul? When did you have this when was this attribute existent in you to where you feel like if you did a side-by-side comparison, now is the point of your career that you're soulless? And I'm not trying to hate and say he hasn't put in tons of hours and tons of studio time and to put in hard work, blood, sweat, and tears, his own finances. I'm not saying he ain't done none of that. I'm not saying that at all. But it's just so hard for me to feel for you when you constantly bring it up as a narrative for this album and then you have nothing to show for it in the substantive lane. After listening to the whole thing, I feel zero. Nothing different about Jack that I felt from the last record. The only difference between this album, to me, and the recent record, it's almost like Jack was super obnoxious at the dinner table on Come Home, the kids miss you. And then someone tapped him on the shoulder and said, hey, bro, like they said that you being obnoxious. And he just toned it down just a bit. But it's essentially like the same album as the last one, just a little less obnoxious. Because there's no extra substance. There's no additional layers, with the exception of what he's attempting to do on Blame on Me that I just don't get, and I'm willing to accept that I just don't get, and some of the content on Denver that actually makes Jack Harlow look like and seem like a really understandable human being. Like, Denver is the track on this album, at least to me, that makes Jack Harlow look the absolute best. Because if I take that track outside the context of this album and I just look at it as what it is, I'm like, okay, cool, Jack. Now I'm excited for what you've got coming next. I'm not saying Jack is trash right now, but are you there? Car ride with no destination. I got nothing. You can say, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm not saying it's great. I'm not saying it's bad, but this is all I got. I can't listen to this album and then listen to Come Home, the Kids Miss You and say the rapping is so significantly better that this is just a step up. I feel like if you listen to both these albums, yes, Come Home, the Kids Miss You has significantly worse bars. I think this album is just as boring with the exception of two songs. With the exception of two songs, I think this is just as boring of an album, if not worse, because it doesn't take any chances, doesn't take any risks. It takes the old hip hop formula of, let me put a soul sample in here, let me put an instrumental or an instrument back here, put it on loop, and then I'll rap. That's just the tried and true formula. You can't hate that. Nothing ambitious, ironically. And I don't really know what he was going for here. What it seemed like he was going for, trying to allow people to see past the smoke and mirrors. Like, all his career at that point has been just fun, turn up music. I just want them to see the party side of me. But now I want them to see the real side of me too. But now that I'm seeing the real side of you, I'm seeing the other sides that I actually don't want to see. And then the content that you deliver is really just nothing. You want me to see past the smoke and mirrors. And then when I get past the smoke and mirrors, I feel like it's just more smoke and mirrors. What makes it boring for me, though, is that it's attempting to have substance without it. It's like, bro, here's this big-ass book, and then you open it and there's no words. If you wanted to just make another turn-up album, that would have been fine, too. I probably would have called that boring as well, but I just probably think it's more so because he's not a great rapper. So when you try to get introspective but still have nothing to say, it's not because I hate Jack Harlow. It's because there's nothing that I think he's saying, generally. I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of people out there saying you're wrong, you don't know what you're talking about, you don't know the Jack man. But I hope y'all really, really love it. But I cannot see how you hate Come Home, the Kids Miss You and then love this.